The core of enlightenment, offerings, and dependent originations. This episode is provided by the Buddhist Association of Australia. Welcome! Today, we will explore the relationship between vowing to make offerings and dependent origination. Based on scriptures like the Avatamsaka Sutra, the Fangguangfo Hua Yanjing, will clarify why generating the Bodhi mind, the aspiration for enlightenment, and making offerings to all Buddhas are linked, and how this differs from simply placing an apple on a shrine. The core of dependent origination. Dependent origination is the fundamental principle of Buddhism. Simply put, it means nothing arises in isolation. Everything depends on conditions to come into being, the occurrence of any event, including the generation of the Bodhi mind, the mind that seeks awakening, for the benefit of all sentient beings, requires the cooperation of conditions. Making an offering is a proactive way to create these conditions. It's not enough to just want to become enlightened. You must act to accumulate the necessary prerequisites. Why make offerings to all Buddhas? Making offerings to all Buddhas, rather than just one, holds a deeper meaning. While every Buddha shares the same perfect wisdom and compassion, each has a unique vow from their past that can offer different kinds of support. For example, the vow of Baoxing Buddha helps people escape from negative rebirths. Medicine Buddha helps people overcome stinginess, promoting generosity and discipline. Amitabha Buddha helps people deepen their meditation, even leading to supernatural abilities. Making offerings to all Buddhas is like fundraising for your path to Buddhahood, strategically creating connections with the vows of different Buddhas to receive comprehensive support. This is similar to forging divine equipment to make your practice smoother. How does dependent origination work? The information describes a process of spiritual practice that progresses from belief to accomplishment. Ability to believe, the generation of faith, is related to the depth of one's affinity with the Dharma. Ability to accept, accepting the teachings. Ability to practice, engaging in actual practice. Ability to attain, gaining personal experience. Ability to know, understanding deeper truths. Ability to prove, directly realizing the truth. Ability to accomplish, ultimately becoming one with all Buddhas. If your affinity with the Dharma is shallow, it's hard to even believe, let alone proceed with subsequent practice. For example, some people resist the idea of keeping precepts, feeling it restricts their freedom. This is because their affinity with worldly afflictions is too deep, while their positive affinity with the Dharma is too weak. Offerings change our affinity. In the Universal Gateway chapter of the Lotus Sutra, Bodhisattva Akshayamati offers precious jewels and a necklace to Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva to form a deeper connection. Shakyamuni Buddha even facilitates this, highlighting the importance of building affinities. The Lamrim Bodhipath Stage Sutra also mentions a story where a disciple felt antipathy towards a certain teacher. Their master told them to make an offering to the teacher, and as a result, the disciple's attitude changed, showing that offerings can directly alter affinities. Dependent origination in daily life. Dependent origination isn't teach us for spiritual practice. It permeates all aspects of life. For instance, interpersonal relationships. The liking or disliking we feel when we first meet someone might come from good or bad affinities created in the past. A couple might get married due to a good affinity, but if they later create negative conditions like arguments or selfishness, the relationship may break down. Workplace. Some people make offerings to their superiors by giving gifts or treating them to meals, creating a favorable affinity to achieve their goals. The evaluation of this behavior differs across cultures. Considered bribery in the West. The key is to understand how dependent origination explains phenomena, not to judge the behavior itself. Nature. The growth of a plant requires conditions like soil, water, and sunlight. If any condition is missing, it cannot thrive. When you encounter an obstacle in life, consider it from the perspective of dependent origination. Are you missing a key supportive condition? You can establish a good affinity by making offerings, showing respect, or simply engaging more with what you need. Connecting with Buddha's power and recognizing our true nature. The information uses a wireless signal to metaphorize the wisdom and compassion of the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. The signal is everywhere, but you need a receiver, our mind. Power the action of making offerings, and the correct channel generating the mind of Bodhi, reciting the Buddha's name to receive the blessings. If the conditions are insufficient, it's like the device is off or on the wrong channel, and you can't connect with the Buddha's power. At a deeper level, offerings and generating the Bodhi mind help us recognize our true nature. All sentient beings inherently possess a pure nature that is equal to that of the Buddhas. However, we often mistake our temporary bodies and thoughts for ourselves and become limited by this. The Buddha, in contrast, transcended these limitations and realized the ultimate, unchanging true nature. Spiritual practice is about re-identifying with this pure true nature, rather than clinging to the false self. The power of identification. The text provides an example. If a teacher encourages a student to lift a flower pot, and the student identifies with their own potential, they might actually be able to do it. If they are used to self-negation, they will shrink back. Similarly, when an object is identified as mine, and the pain of losing it is doubled, what we identify with determines our life experience. The Dharma and wise teachers are like guides, remembering us of the priceless treasures within our nature. That is no different from that of the Buddha. Through learning and practice, we gradually re-identify with this true nature. Conclusions and reflections. From vowing to making offerings to dependent origination and re-identifying with our true nature, the core message is this: every thought, words, and actions create conditions that determine our experiences. Through practices like making offerings, we can proactively accumulate positive conditions. More fundamentally, we can become aware of and adjust our identifications, shifting from clinging to a troubled false self to a pure true self. Finally, try a small experiment. Is there a certain habit, thoughts, or self-perception you can stop identifying with, or instead, identify with a more positive potential? Observe if this small shift brings about an unexpected change.